For Real is about passion, it's about culture. It's not just about sharing a Chinese martial art, but it's about sharing the light at the end of my tunnel, and maybe this could be the light at the end of your tunnel, or you can just enjoy some really cool content, and this is For Real. So Marty is next. He says on the group chat, he says, there's been some good discussion on here in class and on the podcast already about Eastern training versus Western training and exercise. To the point where my feeling is that the underlying consensus of the class is that Western training, i.e. gym work, weightlifting and stuff like that, essentially undoes the work that we do in class. I'm curious on thoughts on the matter. I suspect there's more of a balance between the two, and that it depends on what you're actually training or practicing for. But I'm keen to hear some of the discussions on this point. Terrence and Piers added post that question Marty said. Terrence said, possibly discuss the use of training aids like iron rings and ankle weights or something like that in both training systems. And Piers says, I would very much like to be part of this conversation, talk about the evolving understanding of resistance training and athleticism in Western exercise.
Meaning he wants to talk about that?
Maybe.
Okay. Maybe
he didn't
ask him.
Didn't specify, just wrote that line. So.
Right.
But it kind of ties into his first question, right?
It does, yeah.
The traditional resistance versus the modern day exercise sort of thing. So, yeah.
Cool.
You got the question?
I do.
Yep. Cool.
So, first of all, I will say, Marty, that it doesn't undo.
Yep.
It's not undoing what you train, but it's adding. So, one of the most difficult things I find for myself is staying purely on the line and direction of that particular theory.
Yep.
What's much easier for me is to add stuff in. So I might be, for example, following don't move as a principle in our practice. And it's really hard not to move. It's much easier to move other things to make me feel like I'm not moving. Right? So when we go and do other exercise, I think the benefit will be is you keep it separate. It's like practicing Kung Fu and practicing Tai Chi. You've got to keep them separate. If you merge the two together and you come up with a hybrid style, it's not meant to do that. Kung Fu is meant to be Kung Fu, Tai Chi is meant to be Tai Chi, and that's it. There's no better, no worse, no stronger, no weaker. It is just two different approaches to the same problem. So keep them separate. And for me, I keep them so separate that I actually talk to myself and teach Kung Fu in Cantonese and talk to myself and teach Tai Chi in Mandarin, so that they're completely separate in my head. So I would suggest to anyone who is looking to supplement their training, like running or swimming or gym work or aerobics or Pilates or yoga or meditation or rock climbing or whatever it happens to be.
Got any more up your sleeve there? Keep naming
my
some.
sleeves are short.
Keep naming something.
Is to keep them separate. Keep the principles separate. Don't try to mix them all together and find similarities, because even though there may be similarities, it's only what we make them mean. Just keep them separate. There's no such thing as a similarity. There's one thing that is yin and another thing that is yang. You can't say, there's a bit of yin and yang. Sure, keep them separate though. Otherwise what happens is we start losing our way and everything gets really muddy, right? So I wouldn't say it undoes it, Marty. It doesn't undo. You could be doing bench presses, for example, and then come to class and notice that you can't close your chest anymore. Whether it be Kung Fu or Tai Chi, you might find that your pecs are stronger and thicker and larger and all the rest of it. But if the bench press is kept for the bench press purpose rather than try to improve my Kung Fu or Tai Chi, then you'll be fine.
Mm.
And if you think it's going to improve it, it's not.
Mm.
Because if there's meant to be a bench press in there, there would be.
Yeah.
That's it. It's pretty simple.
True.
I can see where he thinks it undoes things, because very, very, the bench press is, or push-ups is one thing. When we do excessive push-ups or bench pressing, then it makes our chest very strong. Now, that's great for lifting, predominantly. And I think there's some martial arts out there might say that that's great for taking a blow as well.
Yeah.
Protection. But that's not the purpose of our training. Our training is not to take a blow. Our training is not to have a strong chest so I can lift. If I had to hold, lift, grip, twist, and all that, then that'd be very different. Then the answer would be yes, you should do more of that.
Yep.
But that our training, our styles, both of them, don't require that. As a matter of fact, we require the opposite. We want to be able to close and grip outside rather than pull in, and open the shoulder rather than close the shoulder. So, that's, I can see where he thinks it undoes things, but where it's all a matter really of what we're looking to achieve and what makes us feel good about ourselves too.
Yeah, I was just to say, it's a matter of what Marty wants.
Yeah, exactly.
Rather than...
No, doing it to please somebody or to fit in. No. It's really important to do what it is that makes you feel good.
Mm.
And that's it. As simple as that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do you reckon about Terrence's comment about... using the iron rings or ankle weights or things like that during training to maybe... Obviously, this is all to get better at things.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah, correct. So the iron rings should be used and supplemented because they exist. They are there. That's part of our training. It's part of how Jingmo evolved, and it is part of the traditional Shaolin culture of training.
Mm.
Ankle weights, not too. I'm not convinced about.
Yep.
I don't. The ankle weights works the opposite to how we want our ma to be. So we want our ma to be open and fluid.
Yep.
And responsive.
Even though it feels stiff and rigid.
Yep.
At times.
Yep, that's right. I think the ankle weights are probably more appropriate for styles that involve the majority of kicking, which neither of ours are.
Yep.
So, ankle weights, less so. Iron rings, definitely. And I encourage everyone to bring their rings into training because then I can actually offer tips around noticing what theyey're doing and how they can train better with their rings when they're at home. Yeah,
I feel like it's good that, Tarrant being a beginner, well, black belt, yeah. That's what I mean. That he's got rings. Because I think there's a real mindset around, I have to be this good before I can use this aid.
No, definitely not. Yes, the earlier the better.
Yeah, because then, exactly. Then you get better at it.
Yep.
Earlier.
Whoa.
Whoa.